One of my favorite things to do when I'm working with a Clawhammer Banjo student is to work in reverse. We get the thumb stroke right, the thumb positioning correct, and then seemingly magically, everything else flows from that good thumb position. I'm going to show you how to get that today on Banjo Quest. Let me walk you through good striking hand position on the banjo. First, we pull the banjo in, locking into that fulcrum with our forearm. Then we put our thumb on the fifth string. We curl the fingers around in this sort of thumbs up shape. And then I like to have people just let gravity take over from there. So I'm pulling the banjo gently into me and down with the help of gravity. I place my thumb gently on the fifth string, and I am bisecting my fifth string with my thumb. My thumb is deep on that fifth string. And then I let gravity take over, weighing down towards the fourth string. And I like to have my students bounce on that fourth string just to sort of let the tension go in the striking hand. Then when you're ready and you've buried that fifth string in the pad of your thumb, you pry directly out from the fulcrum. And the thumb is going to want to stick behind. It's going to want to stay there on the fifth string because the pad is sort of stuck to that fifth string. So I pry out from the fulcrum on the upstroke, and then I let that string snap back like a rubber band. Then without doing a downstroke, I just go back to that nice thumb rest position. I activate the fifth string using gravity as my friend, burying that fifth string in the pad of my thumb, and then from the fulcrum straight out into space, I pull out. And that thumb wants to stay behind. It's sort of stuck behind. It's loose and relaxed. One more time. Engage the fifth string. Bury it in the pad of the thumb. Let gravity take over. Loosen your muscles so that thumb wants to stick behind. Pry straight out from the instrument into space and then freeze. This is where I introduce the downstroke. I use the fifth string as a way to find the correct position for the downstroke. And now from this position, from this elevated position over the banjo, over the strings, from the fulcrum, I drive down with the back of my nail into the first string. Then I engage the fifth string straight out, pop it, and then down again on the first string. Engage, pull. And then introduce a little speed. Getting a banjo player to be conscious about the way their thumb is interacting with the fifth string seems to be an essential component to me to getting the entire clawhammer mechanic correct. And one of the things I've noticed is the thumb for most clawhammer players in the beginning is way too active. There's sort of this fanning or strumming thing going on that is really inefficient and wildly inaccurate once you get it up to speed. And it sort of gets worse and worse as a student plays faster and faster. For me, the way I think about the thumb in Clawhammer Banjo is that the thumb is actually relatively inactive. It's simply attached to the mallet that I'm using to strike the strings. The other analogy that I like to use is throwing a stone, and I pretend that my hand is the stone, and I'm tossing the stone into the strings, and when you toss a stone, the shape of that stone doesn't change, it stays monolithic. Same with my clawhammer stroke. My downstroke hits the first string, and my thumb goes along for the ride. Then it activates the fifth string, simply with gravity and just a little bit of muscle tension, and then I extract straight out. Another part of the clawhammer stroke where I see a lot of difficulty is people want to take the thumb and move it down to try to brush on that fifth string. So what that does to the stroke is it creates this very circular pattern, and it creates just a lot of extraneous motion that's going to be an impediment to relaxed, natural play. When I think about clawhammer, it's very much like I'm playing a drum. The hand goes straight into the instrument and straight out on the fifth string strike. So make sure that you're burying that fifth string in the pad of the thumb and that you're using your fulcrum to sort of pry the string out of the instrument straight out with no lateral or circular motion. Now, when I teach people this method, I often see them trying to build in some lateral motion with that thumb stroke in spite of themselves. So it's really good to have, if you don't have a teacher to help you with that, to at least have a mirror or a way to videotape yourself so you can see if you're going straight in and out of the strings. All it takes is 5 minutes and a cell phone or your webcam for your computer. That can be enough to give you the visual feedback that you're going to need to self-correct. The bottom line is that the thumb should have relaxation and softness to it, but not a floppiness. So you're walking that fine line, and we've talked about this before on Banjo Quest, where you're on a tightrope as a clawhammer player. On tightrope above too much tension on the one side and not enough tension on the other side. Clawhammer does take some muscular tension to hold that hammer shape, but too much tension, of course, can make for a very wooden, clubby approach. So it's a matter of experimentation, and that's why I love to work from the thumb. The thumb feels very relaxed and natural when you just sort of engage that fifth string and kind of let your arm go loose and limp. And then as you do the uptake on the upstroke, as you activate that fifth string and pull up, you can feel the muscles sort of in your forearm and thumb engage with the softness of that fifth string and lift it out into space. Now, the other great reason to work like this is it automatically puts you in the correct position for a good downstroke. A lot of beginners, they hover above the strings. They're just a tiny bit above the strings. And beginners, they can't get enough velocity at that low string height to sort of crash through the strings using good follow through to get good tone and consistency on those downstrokes. So that those micro movements that beginners are often prone to can be mitigated by this new approach of starting with the thumb, activating it, extracting it, freezing on the upstroke, and now I'm about 6 inches above the string. Now I should plunge in and hit that downstroke. So I hope this helps clarify the thumb's job in the clawhammer pattern, and I hope that this helps you position your hand for a correct downstroke. If you want to find out more and if you want to support this project, please hop on over to Patreon for tablature and more exercises, all revolving around the basics of Clawhammer Banjo. And I will see you next time on Banjo Quest.